Hello, welcome back to Nico Plays. I am Nico of Death. Today we are going to be taking a look at New World Aeternum, and specifically if you're a older New World player who left the game, whether or not you should come back. New World Aeternum has been out for a little less than 2 weeks now, and I've been able to play, get some ideas and thoughts on it, and I kind of wanted to share. I am a New World player. I played at launch. I played for quite some time. Got really into it, and then I did leave. And then with the launch of the expansion, the Angry Earth expansion, I came back along with a bunch of other people and played again, and then left again. And so Aeternum is the re-release of New World with a console release now, and they've kind of built it as a action RPG for the console. And if you bought the Angry Earth expansion, you have access to all of the new Aeternum content that came with it. So I'll set that expectation. If you didn't buy Angry Earth, you're not going to have all of the new content. So with the Angry Earth expansion, it did see a lot of people coming back to the game. And with the Aeternum re-release, we've seen a bunch of people coming back to the game again, but not as many as came back with the Angry Earth release. However, because Aeternum now has the console players, you are seeing a lot of people in a pretty high population, even if on the PC population, you're not getting as many people as you had with Angry Earth. All that is to say, there's still a lot of people. I think that our numbers right now are in the 30 to 50,000 on Steam charts. And so you're still getting a lot of PC players back. And then, like I said, you also have all of those console players on the crossplay servers, which brings me to the point that with all of these new people, you're not necessarily going to be playing with all of them on any server. They do have fresh start servers. That seems to be where a lot of the people are going. These are crossplay. They also have console exclusive servers. So if you're on PS5 or Xbox, you can opt to play with only other PS5 or only other Xbox players. So that can impact the population as well. The other thing is that a new person could create a character on a legacy server, but from what I've seen, that isn't as popular as the people who are coming back and the older players making new accounts on the fresh start servers, as I did, and I'm kind of playing through the intro in the background here. So if you left New World previously, if you should come back, it's going to kind of depend on why you left in the first place. If you left because you were looking for a story-driven MMO or a story-driven game, it might be worth coming back. They did really revamp the main story quest. They've added a lot of cutscenes, a lot of dialogue. They've fleshed out the story quite a bit, and so there's a lot more there to it now than there used to be. So if you're interested in a story-driven RPG MMO, if you didn't feel like you got that in the first time or you left before you even hit level 60, it's probably worth coming back and giving it a try. You will likely get enough hours of entertainment out of it to be worth coming back. And if you didn't already purchase Angry Earth, buy an Angry Earth, it's probably going to give you dozens of hours of playtime, right? So might be worth coming back for that. Other issues that are still around, though, is that AGS is still AGS. They are still going to put out things that are broken. There are currently some issues with different weapons right now that people are exploiting. Nothing new there. There are still bugs. There are still a lot of problems. And while they are doing a lot to try to polish this release, and they have different standards they're held to now because of Sony and Microsoft and the requirements for the console release, they're still AGS. Like, they still have bugs. They still have issues. And we are seeing that even with the patch that was recently released. It broke stuff. They had to hotfix some things. You're still going to get the same AGS quality that you had previously. So if you left because you couldn't stand the game-breaking bugs that kept coming with it, those are probably still going to be there. They're different bugs, they're new bugs, but you're still going to have those bugs that make it through. And that's just something you have to determine whether or not you're willing to accept it. But if you weren't willing to accept it, probably not worth coming back. Another issue that we see is the PC warring companies. A lot of them were responsible for a lot of the player decline that we saw previously. So a lot of the population decline that we saw was a direct or indirect result of a lot of the decisions that were made by the big companies. And those companies would go to servers, kind of kill the population on a server, and then go to another server and repeat the process. That's starting to happen again. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Like I said, Aeternum has only been out for less than 2 weeks, so it's not like there's a lot of time for this to have occurred so far, but we've already started to see it in terms of companies going to different servers, deciding to do certain things, taking certain actions. And even if you're not involved with the war scene or not involved with those companies, it still has an impact on you, because the things that those companies do can impact the server, and that impacts the server health and server population. And then even if you're just some PvE person that likes to run dungeons, there's going to be fewer people on the server. The market isn't going to be as good. Upkeep at places isn't going to be as good. It's a trickle-down issue that you run into, where if those companies are not keeping a server healthy, then it can suffer. Whether or not we will see a change because of all the console players that are now here, that remains to be seen. But I do want to just caution, a lot of the shenanigans that were taking place previously are already starting to happen on these Fresh Start servers. So if you left because you didn't like all of that drama, you didn't like all of that aspect of things, you might want to hold off on coming back and see how that plays out, and see whether or not there are newcomers that can affect that, and whether or not there's anything that AGS does to the game mechanics that might help that as well. I wouldn't hold my breath on that second one, but it's entirely possible that the player population is able to stay healthy because of the new influx of players from console. Like I said, that one we'll have to wait and see. In terms of new content, like if you left because there was not enough in-game content, there might be enough for you to come back and check it out. If you already purchased Angry Earth and you already have access to Aeternum, it might be worth coming back and checking out some of the new in-game content. There's a new 10-person raid that I've heard is a little bit of a challenge, and so that could be interesting for you to come back and check. It is a PvE event, and so if you're into the PvE stuff, probably worth checking out. Even if you don't stick around, I'd say come back and see. There's a new open world PvP area that we've kind of dubbed PvP Island, but part down in Cutlass has been turned into mandatory PvP to be down there, and it's a free-for-all. Obviously, there is still teaming because, of course, there is, but it's a new experience, and so, again, might be worth hopping on an old character that you have, coming back, checking that out, seeing if that's something that interests you, and if you like playing around in that. You can earn different rewards and stuff down there. I'm not going to get into all the details of that, just kind of highlight the fact that there is a new area that is dedicated open world PvP. Free for all is kind of how they have it set up right now. So, like I said, if you left previously, the reason that you left is probably going to determine whether or not you should come back. You do still have a lot of the same shenanigans with companies. You do still have a lot of the AGS quality issues, and the fact that AGS kind of is like showing PC players they don't care. That's a thing, but it could be worth coming back if you wanted to re-experience a story, or you did like the lore, but you just didn't feel like there was enough there. There is a lot more there now, so it could be worth coming back, playing through the story again. It could be worth coming back if you just didn't like that no one was playing the game and the servers were dead. And now there's a lot of people. And so if you want to come back and see how things shake out now that there's higher populations, give it a try. If you like in-game content, PvE, come back, try the raid, see if that's something that is your cup of tea. Maybe not. One of the things that we have not yet seen is a roadmap from AGS, so we don't yet know what they have planned. With AGS, though, that's always kind of hit or miss on whether or not we will get what they're telling us about on the roadmap, and whether or not what they deliver will actually be good or worthwhile. From a PvP front, they do have that PvP island, but there is not new arena maps. There's not new OPR maps. They do have a new matchmaking system for OPR, but it is not great, but it's at least a step in the right direction. So there could be improvements there. I think that the general gist of where I'm going is that if you left the game previously because of a lack of end game content, you might want to wait and see how things go before coming back. If you've already purchased the Angry Earth expansion, however, it's probably worth hopping back in the game, seeing if you like the new look and feel. It does feel a little different than it used to, and so that takes some getting used to. But hop back in, see if you like the feel of things, see if you like the people on the server, and kind of go from there. All right, I think that's going to be it for me, but I hope this at least highlighted some of the pros and cons of what you have going on. I've been enjoying being back so far, but I also know that it is still early, and so we will have to see how things go. I think that if you already have the Angry Earth expansion, it's absolutely worth hopping back in the game, checking it out, playing around a little bit. New World is a beautiful game. New World has some of the best sound design in a game. They also have really good combat mechanics, and so for that reason alone, I'd say it's worth hopping back in. If you already have the expansion, check it out and see what you think. That's going to be it, and until next time.